Welcome to I Just Wanted to Push Record, a producer's podcast, where lifestyle, arts, community, culture, and production meet. Two producers, two cultures, and a whole lot of flavor. Join hosts Lina and JC for fun conversations, cool interviews, sharing tips, laughing through production hiccups, and celebrating the art of it all. Ready to roll? It all starts with pushing record.
To present I Just Wanted to Push Record, celebrating arts, community, and culture. Part of the Olas Media Network.
Welcome to I Just Wanted to Push Record, a producer's podcast, where lifestyle, arts, community, culture, and production meet. Two producers, two cultures, and a whole lot of flavor. Join hosts Lina and JC for fun conversations, cool interviews, sharing tips, laughing through production hiccups, and celebrating the art of it all. Ready to roll? It all starts with pushing record.
And welcome back to another episode of I Just Wanted to Push Record. I am JC.
And I'm Lina.
And we're happy to meet you here in 2026. We made it, Lina. We made it.
We survived.
That's the right word. Survived. What a year, 2025. I can't say I am happy that we survived it. I can say I'm happy to see 2026. But it wasn't without blood, sweat, and tears. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I feel like 2025 was so hard that I'm like, please give me a break. 26, you got to be better. You got to do better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. I mean, I think that's what everybody goes through that phase, like right before Thanksgiving. You're like, oh yeah, New Year's is coming. Then Christmas comes or the holidays come. And then you're like, oh wait, 2025. Oh, and then they're like, well, wait, what am I going to do for 2026? I got to do better. And they start making, some people call them resolutions, but they make this long list of things of like, I'm not going to do that next year, or I'm going to change that next year. And
I'm going to start my diet.
Yeah. And I think they call it something like the second, I think it's like January 10th is where most of the diets fall off or something like that. I don't know. But for those of you who join us for the first time in the new year, this is a podcast it's a producer's podcast where we tend to focus on arts, community, and culture. We get an opportunity to kind of share some of our behind the scenes stories. Lina and I have been working together now, starting on our fourth year together with Olas Media, and what memories we have. And so we'll continue going into 2026 as we did in 2025 when we launched this. To be able to talk about, some of our greater stories from behind the scenes that you might be a better producer or a better content creator. So we're glad that you're able to join us today. Jumping right to it though, Lina, let's talk about that. What are some of the milestones or some of the great memories you recall for yourself and Olas and for I Just Want to Push Record in 2025?
Oh, wow. You like always, you get me in hot and I'm just like, wait. We didn't even talk about this.
That's how we do it.
So just, you guys know, we never prepare for this. We get here and we're like, all right, let's see how it goes. Even though we also talk about pre-production, right?
All the time.
But let's say that one of the main things I like is we got to work in a bunch of shows in 2025. We welcome new shows. We develop shows that were existing in the Olas network that were growing, and they keep growing. And later, JC can talk about more about the names of the shows or invite you to check them out. But definitely, it was a big milestone for us as producers to see these shows growing. And others, taken in their own way as well. So it's been great. And Ola's definitely growing a year of this new setup of the studio, which is super great. People liked it a lot, and I'm very proud of the new design and people feeling comfortable coming here and enjoying the space. I don't know. Let me think more about that.
Yeah, I mean, you did touch on a good subject. Like one of the things is that I think we did see a growth in the number of people who came in to use the studio this year, and I think it's definitely a compliment to you, the designer of the studio. Um, that people did they saw it, they got more attracted to it, and they wanted to use it more often. And I think, it's funny how being a producer and having a facility like that, it kind of takes on the life of a real human being, right? Like there's certain
Yeah.
things you change your living room around, you change your wardrobe every now and again, you change your hairstyle, like change is just constant. And then most of the time when you realize it either works for the best or you wind up reverting back. And
Yeah.
obviously the studio was a change for the better. The shows that we had to come in this year, some of them we got brand new genres of shows. We've got
Uh-huh.
inquiries from people that we haven't seen before. And truth in advertising, we actually, sunsetted some shows this year too. Some shows didn't see the light of
Yeah.
2026. And it's no reflection on that show, but I think each show has a lifespan. And understanding when it's time to let that show go, when it's time to reinvent that show, when it's time to spin off that show, I think is always important. And that's kind of what we're tasked to do. You and I, we spend most of the time trying to come up with ideas to keep things fresh. And this podcast space is changing so fast. If we were just to
Oh,
look back in the 4 years we've known each other, how we do things different,
yeah.
even the platforms we use, like when we go back, we won't call them out by name because they're not paid, they're not a paid sponsor yet. But when we look at that platform,
Oh,
right, and you
my
look at
gosh.
where it was and what it can do now, and it forces you to actually look at all of your platforms. Like, wait, do we still need this? We talked about last year's show where we were like, we're always experimenting, we're always trying new things and trying to figure out what works. I don't think that ever stops. I think we're always trying to experiment and sit and stand on top of what's next. I think that's some of the reason why you spend a lot of time at all the conferences that you go to and get a chance to kind of stay up to date on what's going on. There's some other benefits to going to some of those conferences too, and I think you got some conferences coming up, right?
Yeah. So last year there was the podcast movement that was in Texas, and it was extremely great. Like, knowing new tools, new ways to get the data, new ways to grow the shows and all the stuff. So, and this keeps evolving, like you were mentioning, like it keeps growing and it keeps changing every day. So this year, I hope to be on the podcast movement again, which is going to be in Austin. On that one, I apply as a speaker, but I still don't have any answer yet. But I hope I'm going to make it. And even if I don't, I hope to be there just to learn from other professionals in the industry and the podcasting. And on April, I actually going to be at the NAB show, which is the National Association for Broadcasting. And in there, you get to see the latest technology, everything that is happening in audio and video production, Adobe, all those big companies that they manage the production side. So I'm very excited on be there. That's going to be on April this year. So yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, and I always try to encourage people. One of the things I always tell people, I enjoy going to conferences, even when sometimes I have to crash conferences, right? Like just being innovative because they get expensive, right? Like let's be
Oh
real,
yeah,
some of these conferences are a couple $1,000s for 3 days, and that's not even including like your hotel stay.
yeah,
And then you have to figure out how to get breakfast and how to get lunches,
and the
and
tickets
then
and
you figure out the different levels, and you figure out how to navigate them, right? And
yeah,
that's the fun part. And then the other part about it is you make, just like anywhere else that you go, it's an opportunity to grow your network and you make good friends, right? In the industry, people that you can call up and say, hey, what are you using now? Hey, do you use this? How are you? I'm running into this problem. What is it?
yeah.
And I
No,
think that
and
becomes real helpful.
And let me tell you, like when I've been in these conferences, you create also this community that we talk about in the podcast, creating community. Since I've been in different ones, I get to see people that I have seen in the others. And then when you see them again, it's like, hey, you feel like you know them forever. And then you go and take pictures or you go and have dinner with them or you go and, share space and talk about what is going on. And they even invited me in different podcasts. So now I'm actually a guest in a podcast. It was aired in December. And I was like, wow, this is great. Those are the opportunities that you got to look into, especially in this space. If you want to be a podcaster, if you want to be a producer, if you want to work in the media, that's something you need to keep in mind.
And it's about that continuous improvement, and it's fun for us because then we immediately can come back. Where if you're like a podcaster at home, you may not have the opportunity to go and immediately apply something that you learn new, or to be able to do a trial run with multiple shows so you can see if it really meets your needs.
Yeah.
But we get a chance to bring that back to our clients, right? And it allows us to stay on track with our mission of just trying to relieve all that burden from the clients. I couldn't imagine if I was running my own show at home and trying to keep up with everything. Like
Yeah.
it's just and have another full-time job, right? Like it's a blessing for me to be able to say that I enjoy what we do, and it allows me to be able to practice it like every day, right? I'm not coming
Yeah.
home and this isn't a part-time hobby that I hope that, I can go hide out in the basement and maybe work on it for, 3 hours, and I got to go to
Yeah.
bed because I got to get up and go to work tomorrow. Like we get a chance, if we see something tomorrow, we can reach out, get a trial of something, try it out on 3 shows, see if it works, cancel it,
Yeah.
or revamp everything. And I think that's, one of the things we can be proud of, of what we do, is that we're still in the business of helping content creators be able to get their message out to other people the way they want to do it and relieve them from a burden.
Exactly.
We're going to talk about it after we come back from the break later. But that's what, I can't wait to share some of our
Yes.
new plans for 2026 in terms of making it even easier for content creators.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. So now that you say that, because I almost said it and I was like, I want to say it right now. But then, okay, we got to go to a break and wait for it. Stay tuned.
There'll be more for I Just Wanted to Push Record right after this.
Just taking a quick pause here. Enjoying the convo so far? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more fun, tips, and stories from Lina and JC.
Mixed Ground Coffee, founded in 2020, is where culture builds community. This Vietnamese-owned micro-roastery brings you the world's finest beans, roasted in small batches. Mixed Grounds is proud to present I Just Wanted to Push Record on the Olas Media network, celebrating arts, community, and culture.
And we are on. Oh, wait. I almost forgot to push record. Now over to Lina and JC.
So, yeah, like I mentioned, I had been very excited to tell the people that listen to us right now that we had new stuff coming up for this year in Olas Media. And JC and I were working on something very special for you guys, and new bundles, new ways to be creative, new ways to make your project to come to life. So I will invite you to go to olasmedia.com and visit, because we have new services, new stuff that are like really great. We have options, for people that want to start from scratch. We have options for everybody, like people that already has a podcast, but don't know how to grow it, don't know where to go from here. And JC and I were going to be, very happy to learn about your project and taking it with you to take off or to grow it. So JC, I'll let you talk more about that, because I know we have some clients that are already experiencing those kind of services, and you have been like the mastermind on that, like, managing all of them. So I'm very excited to hear what you had to share.
No, I mean, it's kind of simple. I think it comes out of, we're pretty responsive to what our clients want and need. And what we saw probably about in the second quarter of last year, we saw that we had more people who already had a show or had the ability to create their own content, or just didn't know how to get started and wanted to learn how to get things off the ground, and what does it take to get it together. And we realized we needed to adjust to that, because before, the only thing that we were actually supplying rates and charges for were, if you wanted to come in the studio, you wanted us to brand your podcast, we'll create the show, we'll get it out on distribution, and here's how much it costs per episode after you get it set up.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to pivot, And we also looked at other studios in the area, in the country, throughout the industry, and realized that a lot of people have beginning to just provide, some what we call turnkey resources, meaning that you can just come in, give it to us, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
And so one of the ones that was very successful, we kind of tested it out for the second half of last year, was the donut model, where we had content creators that were literally traveling throughout the country, and we encouraged them to record. We helped them get the equipment that they need, a recommendation, and we set up a workflow where all they had to do was just give us their rollout schedule of what they wanted. And all we did is we took their actual episode video, and we got it out for distribution, and we were able to put it out on a scheduled date. It was a weekly podcast. They were pleased with it. We were able to charge them based on that, versus charging them for all the services that we provide. And above and beyond that, then we also started getting clients who really, at first, they didn't have a camera. First, they didn't have a studio. And so we were able to jump in there and they said, hey, we just need you to shoot it. We can edit it, but then can you distribute it?
Yeah.
And so we're like, well, that's one form of fashion. Do we have it? And so we created some what we call a la carte rates, which are basically hourly rates for specific services. And again, like Lina said, you can go on our website, olasmedia.com, and you'll see all the sites. In our latest newsletter, we kind of, gave you a link to it there as well. Then we've also finally have one where it literally is just based on us now taking an episode that's already been edited, that's already been vetted by a client, and we're just handling the distribution for it. And I think a lot of times people are like, well, wait, so are you really just like pushing a button? Not to be confused with just push record, but are you really just pushing a button to push it out everywhere? And the answer is no. It is more entailed in that than what a lot of people understand. When we push out a lot of our shows, we not only have a blog, but we also push to all the major platforms. And when we do that, you have to be able to do the support behind it. If there's if something is down, if the platform is down, you have to be able to find out, well, what's going on, if the formatting was wrong, if the text in the actual description was wrong, and why is it not refreshing on one platform but it refreshing on another platform when we updated the file. Having that knowledge base allows them to go ahead and start working on the other episode. And so being able to create these different tiers of services and pricing them accordingly is going to be a lot more convenient for those who want to come work with us. We've already got inquiries this year where we sat down and they saw it on the website and they say, oh, I definitely know I want the donut model, or all I need you to do is just to be the distributor for my show. But nothing goes away, right? We just kind of add what we've been able to do. And like Lina was saying, being able to be up on the latest tools and the latest resources allows us to be able to do things in a different way without sacrificing the amount of volume of work that we want to take on. And so as a producer, that's something that you always have to stay up on. And for me, it just makes me, even more grateful that I have a teammate like Lina that we can both tag team in and kind of, hey, had you seen this? Have you seen this? Hey, I found this. Do you want to test it out? And then we'll see if it works. If it doesn't, then you tell me what we want to do. If we had to do it individually, we probably wouldn't have the bandwidth to take on new shows or reform shows. We have shows, shout out to Border Masters that's celebrating this year anniversary, and how they've developed. They went from just sitting in front of a mic, pushing record for about 60 minutes to now having 3 segments, multiple sponsors. And they truly are an epitome. If you haven't watched or listened, Border Masters, I invite you to go back and listen to episodes 1 through 3, and then look at the last couple episodes that they put up in their second season, and you'll see the night and day difference. And that's a bilingual podcast. So I think that's another notable thing that we were able to pull off in 2026.
Yeah, and not only that, like they took off, like, we're very important people, but now it's even more like all the guests that they have been bringing into the show. It's just amazing. Like you don't know how much you can reach, how far you can go. And with this show, with More Than Masters, like we have seen, like, they started with really good guests, but then it's like every time it gets better and better and better. I mean, like, wow, this is crazy. So definitely, we invite you guys to check it out. And also, like we say in the website, don't see what you're looking for. Just book the free consultation with us. And, we'll be happy just to know what your dream is, like what your project is, what you want to do. And even, we haven't mentioned this much, but like we also do the coaching. We also help you to format your show. Like, what is it? Where do you want to go with it? So we help you with that as well. So yeah, just don't be afraid. Like, we're here, we can have a cool conversation and then just take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, I like our style of being laid back in terms of when we're not those that when you get on with a free consultation and we're sell, and
Uh,
trying to force it down your throat. We sometimes probably get more excited than some people, I feel like, about their project. Maybe that scares them off. But just to hear what they're working on and what ideas, and then Lena and I go right into this mode of what we could do. Oh, but then we could do,
oh
and
my
then what we
gosh.
could do, and then reality happens, and we talk about budgets, and then maybe something different happens. But we
Yeah.
had in December, we just sat down with someone who said, "Hey, I came in as a guest on one of your shows, but now
Yeah.
you all inspired me that I want to do my own show." And he came in with 3 and 4 different great ideas. And so
Mhm.
now we've given the invitation to him to sit down and just continue to have a conversation until he gets ready to actually build it out. And so I think we serve as a resource there too, and that becomes fun. I think that along with that, going into 2026, what I'm getting excited about is also our partnerships. I think, I realize how
Yeah.
old the podcast industry is getting now. And you see like a lot of people, merging, a lot of people doing acquisitions. I think we've always been great at being able to take what we've learned, partner or with some other people to be able to shout out to Craig. And some of
Yeah.
the work that we've done with him in 2025 and 24 even. Our friend Jeremy, we've got going to hopefully have some exciting news to announce within the first quarter with a great group called Digital Impact and also
Yeah.
out of San Diego. We did a lot of great work with them in the second half of last year. They were a couple of new shows that joined our network, and we've got more new shows
Yes.
coming within the next 30 days. We've got 2 new shows that'll be launching in partnership with Digital Impact and so I don't know about you, Lena, but I'm going into it with even more excitement than what I entered 2025 and with my eyes wide open, knowing that don't even know how far this can go yet.
Yeah, no. I'm extremely excited. Like I said, and all the new stuff even excite me more because it's like, it's the challenge as well that we get every time. Like, we think sometimes like, oh yeah, we handled it, and then something new comes and we're like, oh, okay, look, I can figure
Exactly.
that out. Let me
Yep.
work on that. That keep us alive and working and new stuff. So don't be afraid. And then something that I appreciate when you mention about like Craig, for example, this partnership, like working with him is like we were doing really cool stuff, like even creating from scratch a whole podcast recording studio in a container. It was
Yep.
like extremely fun. That was amazing. And also doing on location interviews for companies, for their marketing stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not only a podcast, but it's an interview. It's something that can highlight the marketing, help the marketing of your company. We also do that. So we can be mobile. We can be mobile
Yeah.
as well. So, and that was a lot of fun. I remember JC and I were all the equipment on location in San Diego and, recording all those interviews, talking to the people, getting all the feeling. And it's something that we really are passionate about that. And I needed to say it because it was a really great experience.
Yeah, I mean, when you really, this was 24, but we've got a couple Comic Cons under our belt.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and even that, even some of the projects that we worked on now actually have helped launch larger projects. I'm not going to mention Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, but some of the things that we've done early on. So,
Yes.
I would tell producers and content creators, celebrate all of the milestones. Right.
Yeah.
You may be looking at this year and thinking about, well, I only got 1 episode up a month, or I'm only got 1 episode up every 2 months. Celebrate that, right? Like
Yeah.
your
Keep
content is out
going
there. Yeah, and keep going.
and keep
Because
going.
I was as you were saying that, what I was thinking about too, we definitely should have Gustavo and Monique on because I would love to hear what they've learned over the
Yeah.
year, right? Like what did they have in their mind going into their project and now to see where it is now. And it would go unprompted that I guarantee you they would say, "Oh, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of
Yes.
time, it's a lot of
Yes.
energy, and it's a lot of work." And that's what we've said from the beginning. And it's part of the reason why Olas exists is because we understand how much work it takes to actually make this successful. And we believe that we can
Yeah.
take some of that weight off of it. But that's my idea. We got to have them on this
I
year.
definitely will love that because, as a producer, we always, we as producers, we always take for granted like bunch of stuff like, oh, it's easy. or sit there, the mic is there, sit and talk. But then later, again, once we have people new in the studio or we start working with them, we realize that it's not that easy, right? Hosting a podcast, myself, I struggle with that a lot because I'm like, JC, you start, stuff like that. Give me the, I don't know what to talk about. So it definitely gets you nervous. It definitely gets you in your mind. You're blanking out, like you don't know what to say. You don't know how to start. Even though if you have a preparation, a pre-production stuff, it just happened different. And I have a very, like, let's say, cute memory with Gustavo and Monique, because I remember the first times like trying to record with them. They were just so nervous and so much in their heads. And they were just like, I don't know. And they were kind of like in this mind of like everything needed to be like that and precise. And now you should see JC how they are right now to the studio. It's like nothing. They come, they sit down, and they're just like, oh, here's my coffee, and then they start talking, they warm up, and then it's like, all right, let's go. Lina, we're ready. It's amazing to see how people build their confidence around this.
It's a fine line, because as I think about what we lost in 2025, that confidence can quickly turn into complacency.
Yeah.
Where they just think, oh, I don't need to prepare. I don't need to prepare. I know that I'm just get on and I do the monologue, and then we come back in and I know this guest and I don't. And you look up and you're like, your show is boring.
Yeah.
Like you didn't prepare. You don't know what your guest is doing. You're not asking the right questions. You're repeating things. And again, and it can turn it. And so it's a fine line. And again, I think that's where our coaching comes into play, right? Like part of the reason a lot of times where I'm like, okay, you guys are comfortable hosting now. Now let's talk about how we can add a segment in. Or now here's what we need to do in terms of reading these ad lib spots for a potential sponsor. And so I think that's exciting, and that's another service that we provide in that coaching that you were talking about before. So, all in all, we still have a lot to be excited about. I'm looking at 2026, as I said before, with wide eyes and just as much energy, maybe more bruises, and maybe more scars.
For sure.
Yeah, but maybe more scars, but they're healed, right? And so it's almost like, I remember we used to play basketball during the season, you'd have scratches all over your arm. And then in the summertime, you look up, they're all healed. And then you're like, oh, but I can take a foul now if I'm going to the hole. And so it comes at a great, great price, but the reward is even better right now. And I think that's a great indicator of when we know that we're doing something that we love. And I think it'll be an indicator of when we should stop. When we do it and we're taking the bruises and we're like, I'm not healing from this. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I think we'll both know it and we'll be able to say, okay, it was a good run. Let's go do something else.
Exactly. That's how we go. And I mean, I even forgot to mention, like, we had podcasts that they started years ago and they were like maybe like only 5 episodes and stuff like that. And then the end of last year, 2025, they came back. And then now here we are actually releasing episodes weekly.
Mm-hmm.
And now with important guests and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure you know what show I'm talking about. So this is a political show, right? And now it's just like, okay, going all for a YouTube page, audio, like it's everywhere. So that's something that maybe some podcasters or some people, like, you need a little break. But then in that break, think about, like, is this that you really want to do? Where you want to go with it? And I needed to bring it up.
Or is it really that you just need the right producer, right? Because yes, that show has stopped and started 4 times, exactly 4 times. And in those 4 times, arguably it was the same producer, right? But then now this time, new producer, new studio, and look at it. It just takes off. So, sometimes it's just the right producer.
Sometimes you just need a break, sometimes you just need a break and be like, all right, what are we going to do with this? Yeah. So here we are. We're going to work on a brand refreshing, and it's going to look way different and more attractive to the audience. So I'm excited about that too, because also taking those shows that were existent, take them again and give them live. It is also something that can happen to any content creator,
Well, I mean, now you got me confused. I thought you were talking about the political show, but then I also was thinking about, because I had one wish that I thought that if I was going to ask you what's one wish that you have for 2026, and that was going to be my one wish. Understanding that still the number one podcast category in America is true crime. I
Oh
have a wish
yeah.
that we'd get back in that space, and
Yes.
there's talk of that there may be opportunity, but
Yep.
even that, like, being able to wrap your hands back around that now and knowing what we know now, where even if it's just intros, if it's just building audio libraries, sound bites, like all those different things that we maybe didn't have a mastery of at the time, that now we have a mastery of, what could we actually make it now even
Oh
more so,
yeah.
right? So,
Definitely.
but yeah, what's
Well,
one wish
yeah.
for 2026? Give me one wish for for Olas with 2026.
Growth. That's my wish, that we can grow the community, the networking, the shows, of course. Yeah, that's pretty much my wish.
Okay. Well, not that you asked me, but my real wish is that I can continue to work with you.
Oh,
How about that? Yeah,
oh, now I'm the bad one.
No. You're entitled to your wish. I just know what my wish is.
And now I cannot say the same, because he's gonna be like, nope. I said it
I
first.
I try to tell. I give you the opportunity, but no. But I will always say, and I guess they probably get tired of us saying on the show, but it is always a joy and a pleasure to work with you. I look forward to going into 2026, and like you said, growing together. I will say, growing together with you, continue to learn, continue you to be my shoulder that I can bitch and moan to, and me being your shoulder that you can bitch and moan to, and then just dusting ourselves off and saying, okay, let's just go record again. But
So
yeah, it's an honor.
Even though when I'm like, JC, you remember yeah, I saw. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
I knew. I
Mhm.
know
Mhm.
already.
Yeah.
I
What are you
know,
talking about?
JC. I'm
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
that bugs you all the time.
No,
But
my mama told me a long time ago, I'm hard-headed, and it takes me to hear things at least 4 to 5 times for me even to know that somebody's talking to me. So, I'm used to it. It's been going on all these years, and I'm okay with it, and that's why I say again, it's great to have you as a partner. You get me. So there you go. There you go. Any
sounds
last words?
good.
Any final thoughts before we sign off with everybody?
No, I'll say let's keep going. Let's start, this 2026 with all the energy. Get your projects going, keep dreaming, and we are here. We're your friends, and we also here to get you where you want to be.
Yeah, and I will say this too. For God's sakes, get your projects going and get them planned out. It takes longer than 3 days to put a show up, yo. Like,
Yes.
you like get your stuff together and then come. I mean, you can come to us now, but when we say get your stuff together, get your stuff together.
Yes.
Use the client folders. Look, we like use the resources that you have, right? Like, email is fine, WhatsApp is fine, texting is fine, but use them in appropriate ways and appropriate times.
Yes.
I want to see it. That's what we should do. We should have we should add a segment to our show this year, just the bitch and moan segment with Lina and JC. And we just get
Oh, I'm down
60
for that.
seconds. We get 60 seconds just to rattle off all the different things just from the last month. Just from the last month, where you can just rattle off all those things. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess we already have more than sisters. Like, maybe like we have already like 10 episodes already. Is that what is happening?
That's it. That's it.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, let's do it. Get your stuff together. This is not only push and record.
That's right. That's right. That's just the name of the podcast.
Exactly.
As we told you guys before, one of the things, if you want to see our new rates, one, you should go on our website. You can find it under services. But two, if you want to see all the new things that we're doing, you should also stay there and subscribe to our monthly newsletter that we have. And you got to go there, and in the newsletter, you'll find out about all our new shows. Like I said, we've got a bevy of new shows that are launching within the next 30 days. If you're not on that mailing list, unless you're following us at Olas Media Studios on all the socials, you won't know about it. And so we're encouraging you to make sure you go check that out. And we also did launch here in January, that in the month of February, if you send us a question in the DMs on Instagram, send us a production related question. If we choose your question and read it on air, we'll have you on as a guest, and we'll actually give you a tour of our studio located in Mission Valley, San Diego. We will not be providing flights though. You got to get your own transportation to the studio. We're not there yet.
Disclaimer.
Yeah. For real.
Disclaimer. Just hit us up, go to Instagram, Olas Media Studio, DM us, and of course, get in the podcast. I just wanted to push record with us and let's have a fun conversation.
It's always fun, Lina. Until next time.
All right. Ciao.
Thank you for listening to I Just Wanted to Push Record, a producer's podcast. Be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To hear other episodes or read the associated blogs, visit olasmedia.com. And be sure to follow us on Instagram with the handle Olas Media Studio. I Just Wanted to Push Record, a producer's podcast, is produced in studios in San Diego, California, and Tijuana, Baja, California. Olas Media is an IVC media company.